All the athletes, parents, and coaches that we talk to want to be an explosive athlete and have an explosive team or be explosive, not only in the first quarter, but in the fourth quarter, okay? And that is what we're gonna cover here. We're gonna show you speed training for football, the main components you wanna train for it, so check it out. All right, let's make sure that we're on the same page real quick. So when it comes to speed training for football, we have speed training is just simply your energy systems and what energy systems are working to make you run or jump or explode, whatever it is. So there's three things that we need to understand, and they're always working together. They're never separate. But anyways, you got your aerobic energy system, and that is basically, think about running a marathon. Lactic, that is basically CrossFit, so we're not gonna spend a lot of time on that because we're focusing on football, okay? So don't do CrossFit. Anyways, and then you got your alactic. Again, that's your explosive burst. That's like your 100-meter dash, 40-yard dash, or again, more so like your 60-meter dash. And again, we outlined kind of what those guidelines are in order to develop those qualities. And the main things that we are gonna be focusing on here is your alactic and your aerobic, okay? So the super high intensity explosive short burst, and then we need to make sure that we maintain that explosiveness over the course of hours, because that's how long a football game lasts, right? Hours. So let's break down football into a couple things. So I believe over the course of an entire game, there's about 15 series, and then the plays per the series is roughly 5 plays per series. So for every series that they get the ball, they'll roughly get to run 5 plays on average. And then we got the time per play, so how long a play lasts, which is, I believe, was about 4.5 seconds for an average play. And then we also how much rest period. So how much time of rest do you have between plays? So plays per series, we said that's about 5, 4.5. So rest, you guys probably get what, about like 20 to 30 seconds. So basically, let's just boil it down to this. You have a complete maximal intensity activity. So that's your alactic system, something under 10 seconds. It's maximal intensity. That is basically a football play. So again, that 4.5 second play, and then rest, you got about 30 seconds, I'm assuming, to rest. So that's gonna be somewhere in here, your aerobic and your lactic acid, or your aerobic and your lactic energy system, okay? What we're gonna focus on for you guys is obviously improving your performance. So that's kind of like this little purple dot that we got over here, kind of where everything overlaps with one another, okay? So we want to expand that gap, expand our performance potential, okay? So if we just redrew this circle, but if we trained it properly, so we want to, again, mainly focus on the aerobic and alactic, and we're gonna talk about why we're neglecting this lactic acid in 2 seconds, okay? So if we developed a bigger aerobic capacity, again, we're gonna be able to fit more lactic work. We're gonna fit more explosive plays inside that circle. Obviously, if the circle was bigger, then we're gonna be able to get more plays inside of that. So that's just one example. But anyways, we want a bigger, again, lactic capacity, and then we're gonna do a little bit of lactic, okay? So now what we essentially did is we increased our performance from that little dot where everything's kind of even and overlapping to pretty much your bread and butter, okay? So the reason that we're neglecting this lactic acid area, number one, or this lactic energy system, is because that's the whole like kind of mental toughness thing where your muscles are burning and you want to quit. So that's kind of key indicator number one, is that it down-regulates your power output. So when your body has all those hydrogen ions or lactic acid buildup, whatever you want to call it, basically it tells your muscles, hey, we need to turn down a notch, and we're not going to be able to perform as our full potential because we got all this stuff we're trying to buffer out, and it's not flushing out all that stuff at a rate to maintain this explosive ability, okay? So that is the role of your aerobic system. That basically keeps you recovered. That's why marathoners run forever, because they're going at such an intensity, the body becomes so efficient that they can remove their waste and maintain what they're doing. So if we have 4.5 second plays, and I believe in a game there's about 75 on average, 75 total plays. So if we take 4.5 times 75, I believe that comes out to like 330. So actually 330 seconds are actually the only time spent sprinting, which equates to only about 5 to 6 minutes. So 5.5 minutes of actual sprint work. So some people come in and they believe that running them through all these drills at a moderate intensity, again, this 30-second to 2-minute time frame, is going to be beneficial, but in reality, over the course of hours of a game, only 5.5 minutes of actual pure sprinting work or pure alactic work is happening. Now the alactic system, again, is simply how explosive we can be. So we need to maintain that explosive ability. So we want these two energy systems working together. Plus, if you're an athlete or a coach, you have practice, you have school, you have your job, you have your family. You don't have time to waste is what we're getting at. So that's why we don't want to train this lactic system. Or if you do train it, you want to do it very, very sparingly because again, you guys play football, so it's never perfect. Sometimes you're gonna not have complete recovery and that's okay. But you guys want to do that in small doses, okay? So we would go over setting up an entire football plan. All we really need to know for now is you want to do a little bit more aerobic work in the off season, so say January after the season's done. And then you still want to hit lactic again. This is a whole nother video in itself for you guys. So comment down below if you guys want me to kind of go in depth on that, like a speed training plan for football. You still want to hit the alactic as soon as you're in the off season, but again, start to inverse and switch over because obviously this is going to be, football is a super explosive sport, so you guys want to make sure you kind of lead with that going into camp and make sure you set a good base in the off season so you have a good foundation for you guys, okay? So this is basically why you want to do, or how you set up your speed training for football so you can be a faster, more explosive athlete, not only the first quarter, but also into the fourth quarter and beyond, okay? Athletic preparation, make sure you give us a comment, like, and subscribe down below. And again, if this was helpful, we'll go into depth more of setting up a speed training plan of what that looks for you guys, all right? Peace out.